try to visualize this. I am in my DIY van, sitting next to a beautiful blue lake. It's 72 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 22 degrees Celsius. A very light, cool breeze. Ducks taking off and landing on the lake. I have my portable podcast gear with me, and I didn't bring a microphone stand, so my microphone is actually propped onto the handlebars of my scooter as I speak into it. I just wanted to set the scene for you a little bit. We are on the road, as we often are, sleeping in a field behind an apartment complex where there are some folks who allow us to plug in our electrical. That's a different place. I don't want to confuse anybody. That is 6 miles from my location on the lake right now, Lake Murray in La Mesa, California, which is a suburb of San Diego, California. I have this really long extension cord that I can reach from their porch out around the corner, back across the field to where I can get some electricity. So if it gets cold at night, I can turn the heater on. But since I am committed to the Electric Scooter Podcast to produce material weekly, just because I'm on the road and it's not as convenient as being at home, I still put out product. And that's why you may hear cars driving by occasionally, birds flapping their wings, trees falling, people sneezing, bicycles coming by. I think you get the idea. I can stop now, right? It's just a beautiful, idyllic location. I wish you could be here with me. I already made a YouTube video of Lake Murray. You can see that at the Dagwood Streets YouTube channel. I'm not going to make another one. I want to be in the moment, not always fidgeting and fiddling with cameras and microphones and things like that. This is maybe my 4th time coming to Lake Murray. There are other lakes here, Miramar and others that are very, very nice. But I'm glad I don't just check it off my list and then not come back, because this time I found a lot more off-road type trails with hills. So I'm doing a little bit of hill climbing, and it is a blast. I actually did try to film it. My action camera ran out of batteries, so I strapped my cell phone to my RAM mount. RAM is the name of the company, and they make heavy-duty, pretty good quality mounts that you can put GPS, phones, cameras, whatever. I like to use that company. They are a little more expensive, but they are higher quality. So this is a RAM mount grip. And the stability on my iPhone 11 Pro Max wasn't up to the task, so I can't use that footage anyway. But again, like I said, I didn't want to fiddle around with a whole bunch of apparatus and gear. I just want to be in the moment and have fun. But I thought I would paint that picture for you as you listen to this podcast. The sun is slowly setting in the sky, reflecting off the water. There are a lot of ducks here. I'd say maybe too many ducks, because with ducks, they tend to leave residuals of whatever they'd eaten earlier in the day. But it does make for a scenic backdrop for scooting. So I'm really, really enjoying myself. And I hope you'll enjoy this episode of the Electric Scooter Podcast on location in San Diego, California, which, let me say a couple things about San Diego, California. Yes, it has its traffic. Yeah, it's getting to be a big, big city. I heard it's in the top 10 most populated cities in the United States, but it does have a lot of suburbs. But a couple things they really do right here. I'm not a huge beer drinker, but they do have beer gardens here, especially in North County, which they're famous for. There are a lot of good bike trails. They have done a good job with water. People here pay exorbitant prices for their monthly water bills, for their utilities. But that's because they've really invested in infrastructure and desalination, and they are set to go way into the future with enough water to meet the demands of the increasing population. And there are a lot of great restaurants here. You're on the border with Mexico. There's great Mexican food. You can pop down to Mexico very easily. It's easy to get across the border, not easy to come back. It might take you 15 minutes, 10 minutes or less even to get across the border into Mexico. Coming back could be as much as 3 or 4 hours standing in line, and it's a hassle. But I don't want to get too sidetracked. Just say a couple things about San Diego. After Hawaii has the best weather in the continental United States, my opinion, I mean, you might like Florida and humidity and the mosquitoes and everything that go along with that, but you can grow all kinds of tropical plants in Florida that you cannot grow probably in San Diego. But San Diego has a very stable climate. I guess they call it Mediterranean, but what that means is in the wintertime, it doesn't get that cold. At nighttime, it'll dip maybe into the 40s, 50s. And then in the summertime, it doesn't get overly hot. It's just a great place to live, work, vacation. There are plenty of things for kids to do. The San Diego Zoo, of course, is world famous. So I wanted to set that stage for you, that I'm sitting in my van looking at the lake with my microphone hanging from the handle of my electric scooter. Now, how apropos is that? And now, let's get on with the podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's scooter time. Are you ready for scooter time? Here's our host who will make your liver shiver. He will make your knees freeze. He'll make your bladder splatter. He'll make your butt strut. He'll cause your eyes to rise. He'll make your toes froze. He'll make your heart fart. Ladies and gentlemen, the scooter star himself, Dagwood Streets.
Made a commitment to myself and to Scooterheads to put out approximately 30 minutes of electric scooter related material once a week. So far, for over 50 episodes, I've been able to do 30 minutes every single Wednesday. And in this episode, as with other episodes where I tape on location, you may hear noises in the background, people closing car doors, or like a duck just flew by, another one just landed on the water. But some may consider it noise, but I like to call it ambiance. I have a lot of important topics that I'd like to talk about today. It's really not much of a challenge to come up with a new topic every time. We've already discussed what scooter you should buy. Should you even own a scooter? We've interviewed folks that have never ridden a scooter before and then threw them on a Wolf Warrior in 116-degree heat of Las Vegas to get their reactions. We've talked to scooter experts and owners of stores and corporations. This time, I want to talk about us, people who own a scooter, scooterheads, and it is your hobby. And what are some of the things you need to do? Everybody knows you need to keep on top of maintenance. You need to wear safety gear, all that kind of stuff. It's been gone over 100 times. We've talked about how pneumatic tires are superior in many ways to solid tires, but solid tires have a maintenance advantage in some respects. We've gone on and on about different topics, helmets, I mean, you name it. But this time, today, I want to talk about the importance of practicing some of the basic skills. You have a scooter. Since it is your personal scooter, you have an advantage over people who just swiped a credit card on a rental scooter in Hopping Toad, Iowa, North Carolina, New South Wales, wherever you happen to be listening. Or if you're on vacation, maybe Paris, Rome, different locations that have rental scooters. Even if you are an experienced scooter head, when you hop onto a new scooter, the brakes are going to be different. The throttle is going to have a different feel. Do you have a trigger finger throttle and on your scooter at home? And you're jumping onto a scooter with a thumb throttle? Do you have disc brakes and you're jumping onto a scooter with hydraulic brakes? Everything is going to be a little different when you ride different scooters. But once you have your own scooter, you might just hop on it every single day to get to work or school, not even thinking, and just boom and go. It's so routine, you get used to it. But what I would like to emphasize here and now is the importance of getting your skills up. Yeah, maybe going to and from work and school is so routine that you don't even think about it, but you don't need those skills until you need them. And then when you need them, you really need them. Sometimes, if you have a little extra time, just hop on your scoot, go through the P settings, make sure the torque is set where you want, whether or not you want cruise control on or off. For me, it's always off. I can see if you're going long distance and you have a thumb throttle or whatever your situation is to where you just want to maintain the same speed for a long distance. But I find the surprise of letting off of the throttle and then you keep going to be suboptimal for me. But go through your P settings. Jump on your scooter and just do figure eights. If you're always used to turning right and it feels easy to turn right, practice going left. How tight of a circle can you get without falling off, without putting your foot down? Stopping while cornering, using your front brake, using your rear brake. At low speed, I keep my hand wrapped around the front brake side handle because I don't want to accidentally grab my front brake. When I'm at low speed, I use my rear brake exclusively. Let me repeat that. When I am doing low speed maneuvering, particularly if it may involve turns, I use my rear brake only. When I'm going fast and coming to a stop in a straight line, use both brakes. Most of your stopping power actually comes from your front brake, but you do not want to do an endo. My hope is that somebody listening to this podcast will be motivated to just go jump on the scooter and just practice some skills, some balancing skills, braking skills, throttle skills, turning skills. And let's not forget varied terrain. You might ride your scooter to or from work or school or your ex-husband's house or wherever you happen to be going. And it might be asphalt the entire way. So you just take it for granted. But then you get a big rain, and around a corner, a bunch of gravel gets washed up. You hit that same corner at the same speed you do every time, and your mind is on other things. You're listening to music, or you're thinking about your next Amazon purchase, or Christmas is coming up and you're wondering what you're going to get your nephew, and you hit that loose gravel in the corner and go down. Or you, even worse, you panic and hit your front brake and then you go down faster. So practice on different types of terrain. Ride your scooter through loose sand, concrete, asphalt, wet surfaces if you can, although not too wet because most scooters do not have IP ratings. IP ratings are for wet weather. And as we spoke to Francisco Castro of Travelissima in Cuenca, Ecuador last episode, as he mentioned, it's just best advice just not to ride in the rain if you can help it. One of my scooters is a Wolf Warrior. Actually, two of my scooters are Wolf Warriors. Are they wolves? Is it wolves? They're Wolf Warriors. And one of them, I can shine a flashlight on one side of the deck, and if I look through the other side of the deck, I can see that light. I purchased from Voro Motors in Los Angeles, and I told them about that. I'd sent them a picture. I used a green light so you can see it really clearly. And they sent me a new deck, which is pretty cool. It took a while, but it shows that they have good customer support. And they were all over it.
Get on board. The train's about to leave the station. The Electric Scooter Podcast. Woo! Everybody now, get with me. It's coming at you. A new episode. Electric Scooter Podcast. It's electric. It's electric. Yeah, you know you want it. Listen. Put it in your ear. Huh.
The next topic I'd like to speak about is road rage. And there are various facets of road rage that you must deal with. Hopefully it never comes down to this, but it may come down to defending yourself. The number one priority in dealing with road rage is de-escalation. Depending on how and where you grew up and what you were taught, sometimes it's difficult when somebody pulls up next to you and goes, "Hey, you idiot, what's wrong with you?" Or they use a bunch of four-letter words at you. For a lot of folks, their first reaction might be to want to fight or say something back to them. It's difficult. It requires a certain degree of humility to be able to say, I'm sorry, you're right, or I don't know what I was thinking, especially when you know you were in the right and that person is an idiot, because there are a lot of idiots around. I've gotten a couple woohoos riding my scooter. When people see a big scooter with knobby tires and some aftermarket things on it, like whatever, I've done some paint and I have an iPhone holder and a mirror or whatever, a couple things, couple camera mounts and things like that. People that are off-roaders and things like that, people that are into those type of sports sometimes will give me a woohoo or whatever. But there are some people that will just shout at you like, get off the road, or they don't know what you are or how to deal with you, or they think you're a tree hugger. They're coming by in their lifted four-wheel drive diesel truck blowing coal, I think they call it. You know, give the throttle a little blip and then a whole bunch of black pollutants spew through the exhaust and into the air and maybe on you. But de-escalation. Please try to keep in mind when you're on the road, when somebody is threatening you, or you're actually kind of lucky if it's mere curse words. It's happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to other scooterheads that are listening, where somebody actually gets out of their car and comes at you. Well, what do you do in that situation? Well, for one thing, never abandon your scooter and start running, because your scooter will put more distance between you and that person than you can run. And you'll just get tired by running. So stay on your scooter, go in the other direction. If the person's running at you, you may even want to let them get up a little bit of steam so they get a little tired and then start going. And scooters can go places quicker than most human beings can propel themselves using just their legs. If it really comes down to it, you don't want to resort to this, but some sort of weapon. Pepper spray. I always carry pepper spray. I just keep it on my keychain. And so whatever pair of pants I'm wearing, my keys go with me. So the pepper spray is always there. I have a bag. It says Wild Man on it. I don't know if that's the name of the company, but I bought it off of Amazon. It fits across the scooter nicely with Velcro. I keep a tire pump in there, some basic tools, and I'm thinking now pepper spray is probably a good idea. I also have a little flashlight attached to it. Or if you really are in a dangerous situation, or you're actually worried, you really want to take care of yourself, there's a company called Byrna, B-Y-R-N-A, and they make a pistol that fires pepper balls. And I can't speak for Europe or other countries, but in the United States, legal in all 50 states, you don't need any kind of concealed carry permit like you would with a gun or anything like that. And they claim to be very effective within 60 feet. Now, that's the company's claim. I don't know in actuality how effective they would be. Depend on your situation. But it's like a paintball, and apparently it shoots pepper spray. I don't own one of these, and I haven't tried one. But generally, reaching in and pulling out something that looks like a gun might be enough to deter somebody or make them think twice. Depending on where you live, you may actually want to consider a real gun. And if we start going down that path, this is going to be a very long podcast. Of course, there are things like nunchucks and things like that, but we're getting kind of out there now because your overarching best tool is by far de-escalation. Humble yourself. Just tell the person, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. What I did was stupid. I don't know what I was thinking. Even if you know you are in the right. De-escalation at all times. De-escalation is the best answer for road rage. Humility. Get yourself out of that situation. Get home to see your boyfriend, girlfriend, kids, whoever it is. Don't put yourself in a stupid situation. It's always easy just to make some snappy comment or had too many cups of coffee today, buddy. Maybe you ought to lower your caffeine level. There are so many things you could say, but you got to bite your tongue. We don't know who that person is. You don't know what they're packing, what kind of weapons they have, first off. But also, maybe they are on the way to the hospital. You know, one of their relatives was in an accident. Maybe their kid's school called and said their child got into a fight. You don't know what kind of situation that they are dealing with. So take a deep breath and relax. And it's tough because I admit, I had somebody yell at me the other day, and the person looked to be in their 60s, and I thought to myself, where are you in life to where you're screaming at random strangers because they didn't take off fast enough at a traffic light, or they forgot to put their blinker on, or whatever it was. I know in my situation, I just stayed too long at a stop sign because I was thinking, and I wasn't on my scooter. I was in my truck. And I looked left and I looked right, and I thought, oh, yeah, that's right. My wife wanted me to stop at the store, and then I took off. And the guy pulled up next to me. Everybody's got these stories. Why am I even bringing this up? Everybody has road rage stories. And don't be that person either. Like I said, where are you in life that they're shouting, or you even are shouting at random strangers, people you don't even know? You're getting angry with them. Take a chill pill. Relax. Take a deep breath. It's not that big of a deal. And with that, we're about at the end of the podcast. Hope you enjoyed this. I hope it gave you pause for thought. You don't always have to jump on your scooter and just use it for transportation. You can use it for fun, and you should practice your skill. Same thing we mentioned talking about carrying a weapon. If you're going to carry that Byrna, or there's a couple other companies that make these guns that shoot pepper balls, or what do they have? Those Asian throwing stars, like in the Bruce Lee movies. Whatever it is, practice it. Pull it out and use it. It's the same thing with a scooter. Practice tight turns left, tight turns right, figure eights, going down curbs, different types of terrain, all the stuff that we talked about earlier. So I'm going to sign off here from Lake Murray. I'm not making a video. Trying to be in the moment. If you listen to the Ginger on Wheels interview, we talked about that, being in the moment, not always fidgeting with cameras and adjusting volume and camera angle, and do I want to use an action camera or a gimbal, or I'm going to set this gimbal on the ground, this camera on the ground, and ride past it and go through the settings to get it to follow me, all that kind of stuff. just have fun riding the scooter. And that's what I plan to do. And what I have been doing, and I'm really glad because I found some new trails with hills up in the dirt, rocky areas that are beautiful trails. And they're up over the top of Lake Murray. So looking down on Lake Murray, before I kind of circumnavigated the lake, and you couldn't do the entire circumference because there was, for some reason, a gate, and you had to go. You could do 90% of the lake, and you had to turn around and go back and do it again. I mean, it was fun. It was still fun. It was awesome, but this time I cruised the mountains above the lake, and that was a lot of fun. So, this is the end of the Electric Scooter Podcast, episode 50. And until next time, please keep the shiny side up and the dirty side down.